A double game week has just been announced, it's changed the attack fixture difficulty ratings, and I think it's changed my transfer plans as well. Kicking things off with Luton, they've actually got the best attack fixture difficulty ratings out of all 20 teams. To be fair, you can see why. Fulham's got the worst defensive numbers in the whole league, and then in game week 7 they've got a double game week. Believe it or not, even without the double game week, Luton still had the easiest fixtures out of all 20 teams. But with the double game week, they've got 7 fixtures in the next 6, and 5 of them are easy. So all things considered, I am strongly considering Morris. I might bring him in this game week, I might bring him in double game week 7. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my team selection video. I might even captain him in the double game week. That's whilst Haaland faces Wolves away. It's going to be quite close between those two. I will publish a best captain video that game week though. Next up is Burnley, and they're the other team with a double game week. They have got Forest away next if you want to jump on them early, so that's ideal. Then United at home's not too bad from an attacking perspective. The only problem with double game week 7 is that Luton gets to play Everton away, whilst Burnley have to face Newcastle away, and that is difficult from an attacking perspective. Either way, in isolation, Luton away is one of the easiest fixtures that you can have from an attacking perspective, so I wouldn't ignore the double game week for them. If you are going to go with a Burnley player, it does get difficult after the double game week. They've got to face Chelsea at home, then Brentford away, but if you do get through that, you get rewarded with Bournemouth away. I just want to mention as well that the dark green fixtures are actually slightly easier than the light green fixtures. That is beneficial, but they've got 2 red ones and Luton haven't got any. So Luton don't have any difficult fixtures, which is why they're ahead of Burnley in the pecking order, but these are still good fixtures overall. I'll be honest, I'm not currently considering any Burnley players. I know that Foster scored a couple of goals recently. His underlying stats aren't too promising, but he has got time to prove himself in the next couple of game weeks. If he carries on scoring, and he looks like he'll get better underlying stats, then I'll be more tempted to bring him in. I know that Morris hasn't had the best of starts, but he has got much easier fixtures, and I think I could hold him for a little bit longer as well, plus he's on penalty duties. Spurs are in 3rd place. Their next fixture's as easy as it gets against Sheffield United at home, but then they've got to travel to the Emirates for the North London derby. To be fair, Liverpool at home isn't quite as difficult as it used to be. Their defence is quite rocky at the minute. Then they've got a nice easy fixture against Luton away, and Fulham at home is a very easy fixture as well. Like I mentioned earlier, they've got the worst defensive numbers in the whole league. To be fair, it does get difficult after that against Palace away. They've still got a decent defence. In my opinion, if you were going to jump on a Spurs attacker, I would have done it sooner when they had more easier fixtures, but we've always got to look forward and not backwards. From this point onwards, it's still not a bad time to buy one of their attackers. After Kane left the club, I thought the Spurs attack would get worse. It doesn't seem to be the case though, and there are 2 options that I consider. That would be Son or Maddison. Liverpool have the 4th best attacking fixtures. They've got a decent one next against Wolves away. Then they've got 3 average matches. Then they face Everton at home in the Merseyside derby. You'd like to think a derby would be difficult, but that one usually isn't for Liverpool, and that's coming from an Evertonian. Then they've got Forest at home. That's an easy attacking fixture as well. At first, it does seem weird that Liverpool are behind Spurs, because Spurs have got 2 difficult fixtures, and Liverpool haven't got any difficult fixtures from an attacking perspective. But you've got to remember that Spurs had 2 dark greens in the first 4. Liverpool's only got 1 light green and no others. Of course, Liverpool have got 2 greens in game week 9 and game week 10, and one of them's dark, but there's more weighting on the early fixtures compared to the later fixtures, obviously because we can't see into the future, a player could get injured or something like that. With there being 3 easy fixtures, 3 average fixtures, and no difficult fixtures, I definitely wouldn't avoid any Liverpool players. If you're going to bring in a Liverpool attacker that's not Salah, I would be checking the expected minutes to make sure they're going to play. If you're going to bring in Salah himself, I would make sure you're going to captain him at least 1 game week, otherwise it's not worth spending all that money on him. You probably get low points per million for him. Chelsea have got the 5th best fixtures, and like I mentioned earlier with the Spurs players, it does feel like we've missed the boat, but we definitely haven't if you want to bring in one of their players. I would only do it for roughly 4 game weeks though. They've got 3 easy fixtures in the next 4, then it turns difficult. If you currently own Jackson, I would keep hold of him for now unless his expected minutes drop. I know we've not got much out of him, but he will probably still get something out of these fixtures if he does play them. Something that I really like about these block of fixtures is that there's a few easy ones in there with no disruption of difficult ones, so you can buy a player and then jump off them before it goes difficult. Something I don't like about that though is that there's only 4 of them. So if you bring in the player ahead of game week 5, then sell them ahead of game week 9, There's 5 free transfers within that period. You're going to use 1 on buying them and then 1 on selling them. You've only got 3 free transfers left for the rest of your team. Is it worth that short-term punt or not? There is a fixture swing in game week 9, so you can consider wildcarding that game week. I would plan ahead to see if you're going to do it or not, but I wouldn't lock it in. I'd still adapt. Personally, I want to hold on to that wildcard as long as possible. There is a blank game week in game week 18. That's when Brentford and Manchester City blank. I'll probably have a few of those players from those teams, so I'd like to dead end into that game week, then wildcard in game week 19, and there's usually plenty of doubles and blanks in the second half of the season, so it should be well set up for that, but I would use my wildcard in an emergency before that point if I had to. Manchester City have the 6 best fixtures. Obviously in game week 8 they've got a difficult one against Arsenal at the Emirates, but they are Manchester City, so they can turn any defence over. I won't be selling Haaland, that's for sure, and there's a few easy ones in there as well. Whilst it's more ideal to have favourable fixtures, when you're picking your City attackers, I put more emphasis on the expected minutes. Newcastle have the 7th best attacking fixtures. They have got a difficult one next against Brentford at home. Yeah, they've got the home advantage, but Brentford have a decent defence. It might be worth jumping on them after that though. They've got Sheffield United away, then Burnley at home, 2 dark green fixtures. So if you're going to jump on them, that's the best point to do it. There is a bit of an obstacle in the road. The Champions League starts soon, and obviously that will drop the expected minutes of the attackers, especially players like Isak. He typically shares minutes with Wilson. He might do that even more now. He's had decent minutes so far, but I do think they will drop. He has got decent underlying stats though, and a player with even more promising underlying stats is Gordon, so I would be keeping an eye on him as well. Fulham have the 8th best fixtures. In the next game week they face Luton at home. That's as easy as it gets, but then they've got to face Palace away and Chelsea at home. Yeah, they get to face Sheffield United at home after that. I don't think it's worth seeing it through. There's going to be 2 difficult fixtures out of 3. I'd jump off your Fulham players if you've got them ahead of game week 6, and I wouldn't bring any in now. To be fair, I don't think there will be many of you that own Fulham attackers, but there will be plenty of you that own Arsenal attackers. They've got the 9th best attacking fixtures. Whilst they're slightly behind Fulham in the pecking order of the fixtures, they get to face Everton away next. Spurs at home is average from an attacking perspective, but it might be difficult for them because it is a North London derby. Then again, derbies can open up, and it might get even easier if the Spurs defence is pushing further up the pitch. Then they've got Bournemouth away, which is a nice easy fixture, but then they've got to face City at home and Chelsea away, and I will consider selling my Arsenal players ahead of game week 8. Of course they are good assets to own, so I will just consider it. Palace are in 10th place, and to be fair, these aren't bad fixtures. They've got a couple of easy ones in there, but it is difficult that they've got to travel away to Newcastle in game week 9. I'd definitely keep your Palace attackers for the next 4. I don't know if it's worth buying them or not though. If you've got any Palace attackers, I would keep them for at least the next 4 if they've got decent expected minutes. I don't think I'd go buying any though. Moving on to the bottom half now. Brentford are in 11th place, and you can see why, because there's more weighting applied to the next fixture, which is Newcastle away. To be fair, they have got decent fixtures after that, so it's not worth selling your Brentford attackers if they've got decent expected minutes. I just wouldn't go buying any this game week. I would wait until game week 6. Brighton are in 12th place. Their next 4 fixtures are alright. There's 3 average ones in there, and they get to play Bournemouth at home. It does get difficult in game week 9 though. You get 38 fixtures in a whole season. City away is the most difficult. If you can get through that, then you've got a nice easy fixture against Fulham at home in game week 10. Looking at these fixtures from an attacking perspective, they're not too bad, so you don't have to go selling any of Brighton attackers. If this video is popular, I will publish a video on the defensive fixture difficulty ratings. Make sure you let me know by hitting the like button. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss the video. Anyway, back to it. Wolves are in 13th place. They've got Liverpool at home, then Luton away next. That's not too bad, but then they face City at home. I don't think it's worth jumping on Wolves players. Obviously, you would hold your Wolves attackers till the end of game week 6, but they've not got the best of attacks anyway. United are in 14th place. They've got 2 easy fixtures next, then 2 difficult, then 1 very easy fixture, then 1 very difficult fixture. Obviously, they are a hold for the next 2. I don't know if I go buying them though, because that's only a short period of time. I do own 2 United attackers myself. I might actually sell them ahead of game week 7, but that's if there's alternatives available, because they still have one of the best attacks in the league. When they say every dark cloud's got its silver lining, that's definitely the case here. Yeah, they've got 3 difficult fixtures, but they've got the home advantage in all of them. They get to play at Old Trafford. Villa are in 15th place. They have got 2 difficult fixtures next, so I wouldn't go buying any of their attackers despite their attack being very good, but then it does get easy after that, so we'll keep their attackers anyway. Everton are in 16th place. They've got 2 difficult fixtures coming next as well, then 2 very easy fixtures. I don't know why you'd have any Everton attackers anyway. I do think Beto will be good for Everton at some point. Could bring him in game week 7 or some point after that when Everton have got an easy block of fixtures. It is more of a wait and see for now. Let's see if he proves himself in the Premier League. But of course I won't be bringing him in right now. Bournemouth are in 17th place. I'm not going to waste much time on them. They've got 2 difficult attacking fixtures out of the next 3. To be fair, as you can see, it does get easy from game week 8 onwards. You might want to get one of the attackers like Solanke. He might provide good value for money, but for now I'd definitely ignore them. Forest are in 18th place. To be fair, they've got an easy fixture next against Burnley at home. I'd keep your attacking players for that one. Awoniyi looks like he's on fire. I would like to own him for that, but it gets really difficult straight after that. City away, Brentford at home, Palace away is difficult. Yeah, Luton at home's very easy, but then they've got to face Liverpool away. As you can see, the fixtures are getting horrible now, and in 19th place is Sheffield United. They've only got 1 easy fixture out of the next 6. They've got 2 difficult fixtures in there, and they've got to play 1 difficult fixture and 2 average fixtures before they even get to play the easy one. In all honesty, if I was to consider a Sheffield United attacker, they'd have to have real easy fixtures like Luton and Burnley have got. Right now, I'm not going to consider them. Even if they had average fixtures, I don't think they'd be anywhere near my team. Last and certainly least are West Ham. They've got the toughest opponents in the whole league next. Then they've got to face Liverpool away. To be fair, then they've got one of the easiest fixtures in the whole league against Sheffield United at home. After that, they've still got to face Newcastle at home though. So they've got 3 red fixtures out of the next 4. One of them's a dark red. Goes without saying you definitely avoid them and you'd sell them, even if it's Bowen. If you've made it to this point in the video, you might as well subscribe because you've clearly found it informative. Make sure you look out for my team selection video.